Samarkand hosts COP14 Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals. As a part of this conference, a meeting was held on global snow leopard and ecosystem protection program. The participants of the meeting discussed the main threats in protection of snow leopards and proposed several solutions.
At the meeting, the governments of the 12 snow leopard countries, as well as the GSL partners, collectively assessed the efforts to implement the Bishkek Declaration, identified priority actions for the future, discussed the identified financial gaps, future resources needs, and ways to finance snow leopard conservation initiatives. So what were the main identified issues to preserve the population of snow leopards?
Well, the biggest threat is climate change. The glaciers are melting, and it is going to threaten not only the mountains, but the plains, because the water goes into the plains, and if the glaciers are melted and there is no water in the rivers of the mountains, the plains won't get fresh water to drink. So that is one of the main threat. Other threat is illegal trade and traffic. In some countries, it is not as much, but in a lot of countries, there is demand for snow leopard pelt, for parts, for all kind of medicinal purposes. So that is a big threat.
Specialists also pointed out that there is a huge financing gap on the snow leopard conservation projects and made a suggestion regarding this problem.
And we are going to make a special request to international financial institutions and multilateral banks to actually fund the environment programs. So all countries have come together. They have done a resolution, and the resolution is about declaring the iconic snow leopard as a powerful symbol of high mountain ecology. It is extremely important. And to finance all programs which are related to snow leopard conservation.
The preservation of the snow leopard and its ecosystems are not only important from an ecological point of view, but also of great heritage and cultural importance, emphasized Aziz Abduhakimov during the meeting. Snow leopard is one of the Central Asia's rarest species and the only big cat inhabiting the high mountainous regions of the Republic of Uzbekistan. These species are included in the IUCN International Red List with the status of vulnerable and in the Red Book of Uzbekistan with the status of critically endangered. According to the latest data, the number of snow leopards in Uzbekistan has exceeded 100. In order to maintain this, a methodology was adopted until 2021-2030 by the decision of the Cabinet of Ministers. Much needed work has been done to preserve the snow leopard in Uzbekistan. Currently, protected natural zones have been established in 70% of the areas where snow leopards live in Uzbekistan. The first reason for the decline of the snow leopard is poaching, second is urbanization, and third is the relationship between snow leopards and domestic animals. Taking into account the importance of conducting the dialogue on time, developing joint measures to preserve the habitat of snow leopards, the historical Samarkand resolution was adopted, which defined the main obligations at the end of the meeting. The COP14 to the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals opened today in Samarkand. This important UN wildlife meeting brings together CMS parties and other governments, UN organizations engaged in biodiversity conservation, and many other stakeholders from around the globe. The meeting will consider progress in implementing the convention, as well as actions for addressing many conservation needs and challenges for migratory species and their habitats.
Hurmatli rais janoblari, hurmatli bosh kotib janoblari, delegatsiya rahbarlari, xonimlar va janoblar. Hozirgi vaqtda dunyoda keskin ekologik vaziyat kuzatilmoqda. Sayyoramiz miqyosida 3 ta inqiroz, ya'ni iqlim o'zgarishi, bioxilma-xillik yo'qolishi va atrof muhit ifloslanishi kuchaymoqda.
During the week-long negotiations, CMS COP14 is expected to consider an extensive agenda covering more than 100 items. Some of them are the amendments to CMS appendices to include 14 additional species in need of international conservation, measures to address the illegal and unsustainable taking of migratory species, actions to advance ecological connectivity, new strategic plan for migratory species for the period 2024-2032. Prime Minister of Uzbekistan Abdulla Aripov visited the meeting to open this global event by delivering the speech of the President Shavkat Mirziyoyev.
Barchangizga yaxshi ma'lumki,
As you all know, migratory species of animals are an integral part of our planet's ecosystems. Unfortunately, they are currently facing serious threats such as climate change, habitat loss, illegal hunting and trade. As a result, the genetic resources of animals are decreasing. Their unique species, natural harmony and ecosystems are disappearing. According to the latest research, in the last 50 years, more than 100 species of them have disappeared on Earth. And in Central Asia, 26 species of birds, 12 species of mammals, including Turan tiger, Asiatic leopard and other endemic species have completely disappeared. Our common goal is to preserve biodiversity and sustainable development for future generations and to ensure the harmony of human life with nature. The CMS meeting is the first COP of any global environmental treaty to take place in Central Asia, a region that is home to many migratory animals and many species of migratory birds. The conference opens under the slogan "Nature knows no borders," which is a reminder that the journeys of migratory species do not adhere to political boundaries, and their survival is dependent on international collaboration, including transboundary, regional and global conservation efforts.
For over 40 years, parties to this convention have worked to protect these species. But despite our efforts, our best efforts, migratory species are in trouble, as shown in a report that the CMS will release later today. And that is important because we need to think that unless we establish clear precautionary framework around these species, there will be new threats, including, of course, deep-sea mining. We need to ensure that we have frameworks around this.
During the event, delegates also discussed new and strengthened mandates to addressing the illegal and unsustainable taking of species and priority actions on the impacts of climate change on migratory species.